I serve at Centonomy, and we are determined to help you to create wealth and hopefully to understand what that means. And in understanding it, that you're able then to make some decisions, hopefully, as far as your life is concerned, and the investment choices that you're going to make, because it's a process. I mean, it's an actual process that we need to go through. And if we understand the dynamics of that process, if we understand the tools that are at our disposal for that process, then the likelihood of us achieving that goal is much higher. So it's funny because this came to my mind earlier last year, and I've heard that analogy somewhere else. I knew that it must be true, because sometimes I think we find ourselves playing a sport that we don't understand. And that's why we end up getting beaten over and over again, and we're wondering, why is it? And it's simply because we just don't understand the rules of the game. When we think about our investment journey, when we think about what wealth is, we often see, this is one of the hard things, we see the results of the process. So when you see somebody who's wealthy, you see the results. This is years later. It's the same way like when you see an amazing athlete, for instance. When we see Eliud Kipchoge, and that's an example that has really been on my mind. When we saw Eliud Kipchoge last year, we were unable to see the years in primary school of preparation, the years in high school of preparation, the years post as a professional athlete preparing. We saw those highlights when he started winning marathons around the world. We saw those highlights, and then now is when we are seeing, oh wow, this guy, that's why he's being paid $4 million for one race. Whereas it's the same thing it's the same thing when you consider those who are wealthy. You see them traveling in a certain way. You see even local politics, or even you see the results of wealth, but it's hard to see beyond that. It's hard to see what went on behind the scene to get to that point, how long it took, what are the kind of moves that it took, how long did it take them to get there, what choices did they have to make. I'll give one more example, because I know this is one that is on our hearts, all of us, especially for us men. When you see a gentleman there, and a structure on abdomen pack, it's just there, but these guys have defined it separately. So you look at it and you're excited. I chose not to eat certain foods that we eat on a regular basis. The early mornings that guy took to wake up and do sit-ups when we were fast asleep. So we see the results of success. How is it that person got there? It's really simple. It is simple. It is simple. But you have to understand the rules of the game. Running a marathon is simple. Most of us can put one foot in front of the other in a running fashion. That is as simple as it is. But, and here's the key, it is not easy. So there's a difference between simple and easy. Simple means you can grasp it. And all the principles that we teach here at Centonomy, you are able to grasp. We have designed this program, and I really thank God for our founder, Washeke Ndwati, and the time that she took in preparing this program, in that when she was putting together this content and the content that we've added since this program began, because it has really morphed over the 11 years that we've been running this, is that the principles of wealth creation do not require even, I would say, even a high school education. No. And that's why you can probably think of someone who has created wealth who did not necessarily attend high school or go into university or even primary school. I know we have very famous Kenyans who we know of who were able to create wealth through their business structures over time without an education, but they understood understood the principles of wealth creation. Now, obviously, with an education and understanding the principles, the likelihood only increases. So I want to encourage you where you are, where you're seated right now, that you have the ability and you have the resources and the through the training that we're going to give you over the next couple of weeks, you only increase the likelihood of achieving those goals through the practice that we're going to go through. So I hope that you're going to follow through with us. We want you to create wealth, and we're going to discuss that just shortly. So Maureen, if you don't mind, just come on the screen for a second, Maureen. I want to just adjust my network. I just realized I did not place in the network cable, and I know the children are going to log on to something on Netflix, and before I know, I will be kicked out of this place. So just give me 1 second, I'll be right back.
Okay, thank you, Waithaka. Guys, if you have friends who really want to listen to this conversation, and I believe everybody needs to listen to this conversation, even as Waithaka had mentioned, you don't really need any kind of qualification to listen to this conversation. So if you have friends outside there and you feel they're going to benefit from this conversation, share the link, share far and wide. Asanteni sana. So if you have any questions, we have a chat box where you can put all your comments. You can as well raise your hand, then we'll be able to unmute you to ask your question or to give your contribution. So just at the bottom of your screen, we have chat, we have participants. When you click on participants, it's going to give you an option of raising your hand. So we'll quickly unmute you or request you to unmute so that you can ask your question, share your contribution as well. Then we have a chat box there. Perhaps if you haven't seen it, once you chat, we'll be able to respond to you. And let me just drop the first chat and just say hi. All right, Waithaka.
Thanks. Sorry about that.
Not at all. You're welcome.
I didn't want in the middle of our session to have network issues.
All right, that's okay.
These are the things about working from home. So
yes,
welcome everyone. Let's get straight into it. At Centonomy, we are on a mission, as I said, to shift mindset so that purposeful people like yourselves can create wealth and live abundantly. I always like, because at this time it's so important to understand. Let's use that chat box that we've just done with Maureen. I want you to type in the chat box, what is wealth? I want to make sure I understand. What do you believe wealth is? And this is how we run the class. So your participation is 100% necessary. You can see the chat box where you are. Kindly type into it and say what you believe wealth is. What is wealth? And I've loved having these conversations in the classes, as we did Maureen last time, having people from around the world. When you hear somebody in Japan, in Australia, in mainland Europe, West Africa, in America, talking about the same thing, I find it so exciting. I am wondering, Maureen, the people that you have brought into this room, they don't know, they're coming for a wealth creation program, and they're not telling me what wealth is, unless I'm missing something in the chat box. We need to type what is wealth, guys. What do you believe?
What does wealth mean to you?
Yeah. As quickly as possible. There we go, Jennifer. Thank you. You're the now we're talking. Okay. Needed a bit of a push. Good. Yeah, I know. First time out, it's a bit hard for us. Good. A
lot of money.
Good. Keep going.
The gentleman in the room.
Yeah, guys are always a bit slower to respond, you know.
They're coming.
No. We are usually a little bit, just a bit slower.
Okay.
I love that we have some few people,
yes,
various places around the world who are doing this. Okay, great. So freedom to do whatever. I love that. Plentiful supply of something. Hey, that's someone who went to the dictionary. Well done. Well, peace of mind, body, soul, inclusive of finances, good, wealth is family, fitness. Hey, I like that. And freedom. So listen, I am not here. Oh, I love it. People are already asking deep questions. you want to have zero, people want to have zero tax on the income, which is very interesting. I love net total of your assets and liabilities. Wow. Okay, Cecilia, I think that would be more your net worth. That's not necessarily wealth, the way we're describing ability to live. Hey, Irene has been to one of our talks. Thank you so much, Irene. I was waiting. I was wondering if you've ever been to a talk that I've given. I've said that so many times. I hope I'm going to repeat it until anyone who meets me will be able to say, that's a guy who says wealth is the ability to live the lifestyle that you want without having to work. Thank you so much, Irene. But here's the thing, that statement becomes a bit abstract. So let's have a discussion around it. I don't want it to be. Thank you, Joanne. You've had a similar thing. Let's have plentiful. Diana Binda. There we go. Diana Binda, would you mind joining the conversation? If you can switch on your microphone, I'd love to have a conversation with you. Hi, Diana. Diana, if you switch on your mic, then we can chat. So this is one of the things that we do in the class, and usually by the first session, after a bit of time, we get used to it. When we have a discussion, it usually increases the level of interactivity and obviously the level of understanding. So Diana Mbinda, can you hear me? If you can, just switch on your mic. We have a discussion. I'd love to talk to you a little bit. Diana, are you there? Okay. If not, let's talk to Sally M. Hi, Sally M. How are you doing? You can unmute your mic. You just need to click on that microphone in the bottom left corner. It's usually somewhere bottom left or top left corner. And once you click on it, you're able to speak. So Sally M, are you there?
I'm here. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Where in the world are you, Sally M?
I am in Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow. Wow. This is one of the things that I love about going online, because the discussion I told you is so rich. You said, Sally, freedom to do whatever. Like what? What would you like to do?
Well, if I wake up in the morning and my kids just want us to stay home, I can do that.
But okay, but you can do it even now, I'm sure.
Well, it depends. If the boss says I have to work, I have to work.
Oh, you can tell the boss, no, I don't want to work today.
That would be wonderful, Waithaka. If I could still have a job tomorrow, I'd do so.
But I'm asking, so why do you need a job?
That's my only source of income right now.
Say that one more time loudly so everyone can hear.
My job is my only source of income right now.
There you go. I don't know how to make it even bigger than that on the screen, but I hope you're seeing what I'm writing down there. So you said travel, it's freedom for my children. What else? Describe that lifestyle. That freedom, the one that you're talking about.
Well,
what else?
I
what
think
else
my
would you do if you had the wealth that you're looking for? What else would you do?
I would move to Zanzibar and live there forever. That's what I
have you been?
Once.
Ooh. Did you swim with
the dolphins?
It was
beautiful.
You have this tour in Zanzibar where you get to swim with dolphins. Did you get to try that?
Oh, no. I like to just lie on the beach and watch the world go by. I don't do any of the activities, no.
No, you'd be bored after a while. You need something to do. So I guess the travel is what you do. So you relax in Zanzibar until, anything else? Anything else that that wealth describes?
Well, I think for me right now, because I have young kids, I think about them. You know, yes. I want to leave something for them, to give them a head start.
It's called an inheritance, isn't it?
Yes, I don't want them starting from zero. Yeah.
That we're building, and that's a thing. In fact, I mean, we were having a debate with my wife earlier today I mean, we've just been watching the news of what's going on in the US, and I mean, our heart goes out to you guys. It's so easy, it's so easy to laugh and and say Donald Trump is such sometimes an interesting character, but the effect of the what did I say? The atmosphere. It's real when you come there. My brother-in-law is actually, he's a black man. He's a Kenyan. He's Mureithi, and he's a policeman as well in Virginia.
Oh wow!
Yes, and you can imagine that how torn he is right now, understanding what happens to black men, but also the perspective of police and everything that's been going on there. But what we were talking about is that when you talk about an inheritance, this is something that, as you said, gives your children a head start. And when we talk about the difference in terms of what has happened in Africa versus what has happened in the rest of the world, well, at least let's say the Western world, is that often what they're building has been built on what others did before. When you think about the greatness of a company like Apple could not be in place without Ford Motor Company and what it was able to do. Ford Motor Company would not have been there without Carnegie Steel, and before that, you know what I mean? It's built on what came before. And so what we're trying to do as Africans around the world is begin to do, and I love that you're saying that. I love that you're saying you want to leave an inheritance. So that's great. Anything else? Anything else?
That's it for me. If I could move to Zanzibar today and leave an inheritance for my kids, I'd be done.
Good.
That's it.
Here's the thing. So let's go back to the definition, and I hope everyone, I'll come back to that just now. I want to go back to the definition that we gave earlier on, and I hope everyone has written it down because it's what we will use throughout the program. The ability to live the lifestyle that you want without having to work. So write it down. Now, let me just give you a minute so that you can write it down, and then we will unpack it with using Sally as an example. So Sally, I hope you've not disappeared. I switched off Kunzi. I want to still have a discussion with you. So I'm not picking on you. I just want to use you as an example so everyone can see the discussion as we go forward. So wealth, the ability to live the lifestyle that you want without having to work. So let's go back to Sally's example and break it down a little bit more than that. Oh, Sally, I hope I'm not stressing you out. I'm here to help. That's my intention. So
nope, not stressed.
Good. Let's now begin to make this real. Let's make this real. So that means that you can sustain that lifestyle that you want. Why is that so important? To everybody in the room who has a job, if you are employed, what is sustaining you, that income comes from a salary. I want to change that color so that we can have a bit more contrast on the screen. How do I, there we go. So salary, that means monthly there's income, that's the income. Remove the salary or the job. And as you heard from Sally just a couple of minutes ago, that's what makes it impossible to do that. So the salary is that source of income, cash flow that we're talking about here. And we're going to discuss cash flow on a regular basis here. But the difference here is this. It is cash flow to sustain the desired lifestyle. So, Sally, I need your help if you don't mind. So when you say travel, describe travel to me. Because and I'm talking about travel, on this other side, this is the wealth corner. Let me go back to the wealth corner and just type that in so we remember. Describe the kind of travel you want.
Well, so for me, I think because I'm interested in, traveling throughout the world, it would be air travel.
There you go.
So we're a family of 4, so 4 tickets to anywhere we want to go.
Yeah.
At any point.
Yeah. What kind of tickets?
What kind of?
Because not all tickets are made the same.
Oh, well, so I've flown business class once in my life. That was nice. So maybe 4 business class tickets.
Ooh, now we're talking. The average cost of a business class ticket.
How much does it cost?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
There you go. So if we don't even know how much it costs, then it becomes problematic. But I think, what is it? It's like $5,000, I think, depending on which. Why are we even talking? See, the internet is here to help us as well. Let us use the internet to help our lives. If I wanted a business class ticket, so I'll just get it for us just now off the internet. But as we go, I'll do it. So that's 4 air tickets. Then Zanzibar, I have some idea about that. Inheritance. Describe the inheritance. What does that mean when you're saying for your children?
So for me, inheritance would be 2 things. One, it would be the wealth aspect. I mean, a starting point for me ideally would be maybe a business that they could take over. If not a business, then a certain amount of money that would help them maybe purchase their home.
Okay.
In addition to the wealth part, I'm thinking also imparting on them the knowledge of how to maintain that money, you know, because that's something that, you know, for the most part, we teach our kids to drive, we teach them, you know, how to pass exams, but we don't really teach them about money. So that it will be important not only to give them money, but give them the know-how, the understanding of that as well. Yeah.
That's right. So where am I coming to? If I'm flying from Nairobi, I want to go to Atlanta, Georgia. Very good. I'm just trying to find how much it would cost. That's all. That's all I'm doing. Where is this? And I'm using my lighters. Good. You know, what we must do in these classes is to be as practical as possible, even in terms of real numbers. Airline safety measures, continued flights. Yes, I want to see the flights. Did I say what kind of price? Not price. Cabin. Yes. Did I say cabin? You know, these things sometimes is a bit. No, I don't want basic economy. I don't want economy. I want business and first class. Yeah. Great. Yeah, so I was not too off. I was not too badly off. I did mention Sally. Didn't I mention that's about $5,000?
You did? Yeah. Yes.
I did. Yes. So yeah, it's at least the one that I've found so far. It's about 4,500. And so let's say $5,000 because of whatever it is. And how many did we say we are in your household who are
4
traveling?
people.
There we go. So that's $20,000 travel every so often. Well, how often would you like to travel?
If I was wealthy, every month.
Every month? No.
If I was truly wealthy,
you'll be exhausted. So, and you have other stuff to do. So
sure. Let's say twice a year.
Twice a year. So you're saying yearly on travel, that's $40,000 just on travel, yeah?
Just on the travel.
Yeah, good. Now we're describing the lifestyle that you want. That Zanzibar house, is it a beachfront property or is it you just want somewhere in Zanzibar? And Zanzibar is pretty small, so you'll access the beach from wherever. But do you want beachfront or you want? What do you want?
I have no preference there.
As long as it's in
Zanzibar. Yes.
Describe the house in Zanzibar.
Oh wow. Just a nice bungalow.
Good.
3 bedrooms.
3?
3 bedrooms. 2 bathrooms.
3 is enough. Are you sure bedrooms?
Yes.
How will we come and visit you?
Oh, that's the point. I don't want any visitors.
So let me not steal your dream. Okay, I'm not stealing your dream. So you're looking at probably anywhere between, let's say, about for that property and the kind of property you're describing, USD 1 million to between $1 and $2 million. Okay.
Oh goodness. Okay.
I don't know. It's what you're describing to me. I'm just kind of looking at what I understand from this market.
Okay. Yes, I've never done the research on this, so
yeah,
this is interesting.
That's you see okay. So Sally, and let me use you as an example for everybody else in the class. There's a reason that I'm going through this. The reason is, if we don't know the goal, then we do not understand the cost of getting there. So you describe the life, you see, and this is what we often do. We describe in general what it is that we want, but we've never actually been clear to ourselves, to our families, and in terms of our planning on what we want to achieve. So when Sally, you're saying, when you began to describe it, I began to put down numbers. This is what I'm trying to get us to. Because, and here's the thing, Sally, these numbers seem huge now, they do, but they are achievable. And the thing about it is, the number of people who are living this kind of lifestyle will surprise you. And the thing is, it's just the process of how do we get from where we are to there. So as I said, let me go back to the example of Eliud Kipchoge, who broke the world marathon record last year. He did so because he had a very specific goal. He had a clear goals. Oops, it's hard to type and talk at the same time. Clear goals. His goal was, if you remember it, it was posted everywhere, at least on the advertising, 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds. It was down to the second. What did that mean? That he was able to work backwards to the very first step that he took in order to pace himself to achieve that goal. So now watch this.
Not yet.
Sally, we have put Sally down and her goal down on a piece of paper. So now we can see it. Now, just the same way. Oops.
It actually is. Now the other option is mute.
Now, Brenda, yes, we have to mute because you are now joining our discussion. And Angeta, don't worry, you'll join later on. Sally is the only one I'll be chatting with just for a few seconds, just so that we can have some clarity on that. Yeah, Maureen, just keep an eye out on those who are unmuting during the session and then talking. So here we go. If now we have a picture of where we're heading, then Sally can now work backwards to where she is today and say, how do I get from here to there? What are the choices I must make here in order to get there? And that's what Centonomy is all about. We are like trainers. We call ourselves trainers, and it's like going to the gym. And just the same way in the gym, when you go and say, I want to lose 25 kilos, that's good. Let's start on where you are. If you are, whatever it is, between 80 and 90, and you want to lose 25 so that you're 60 or whatever number it is knowing where you are first, where you want to get to, and the cost of getting from where you are to there. That's what we're trying to do. So Sally, thank you for sharing. And this is what each one of us has to do when we get into the program. And when we start next week, we're all going to have to begin to set clear goals for our lives. Now, when you put that down, now you begin to understand. So I need an asset, which is just my home, of anywhere between $1 and $2 million in Zanzibar. So that's number one. So that's a big asset that we're going for. Then we'll need an income, a cash flow to us of a minimum of $40,000 per year for travel alone. Now you can translate US dollars into whatever currency that you're working on, because I know I'm speaking to people around Africa, around the world, wherever you are. So a US dollar, that's where we try and use that so that you can use. And then an inheritance, some kind of asset that you're going to build and pass on to your children. And it's most likely going to be the same tool that we're using for you, Sally, right here for the investments we're talking about. So these are big goals. And I love that you set big goals, because that's what pushes us beyond our comfort. And when we are, people get excited about, get out of your comfort zone. But when you're outside of your comfort zone, you're uncomfortable. It's not a comfortable place, but guess what? Growth only happens in discomfort. So I'm trying to make you uncomfortable. So let's do some maths here just to figure that out and see what that looks like. So you would have to have assets, as I said, worth at least the house itself, somewhere anywhere between $1 and $2 million. And then we said we have cash flow of a minimum of $40,000. Here's a question to you, Sally. One more question. I know I'm asking many, but for daily life, how much income would you need for just daily life? We're now not talking about just the travel and other things, but just to live in Zanzibar, because it's relatively cheaper than it is in the US. So let me hopefully give you some idea of what that would be like. So we'd say, can I do some quick maths on my phone? Sorry, today I'm doing a lot of mathematics, but don't worry about the maths we do in the class. It's simple, and the teacher is here to help you. So there's nothing about, we're not testing you. We're just trying to use it to find what we're looking for. About 2,000, no, let's make that 5,000. 5,000, I'm just doing some quick maths. $5,000 a month, that's multiplied by 12, so 60,000 a year. Good. Sally, I'm dreaming for you now. So these are real numbers we're putting on. So if you had an income of about 60,000 USD, when in Zanzibar, you are doing well. Okay? You're doing well.
Okay.
So here's the thing. $100,000 a year of cash flow. Cash is the target. Where cash coming to you is worth about $100,000, because it's the 60,000 for daily life plus the travel that we're going to do every so often, worth about $40,000. We're just putting some numbers out. We don't have the time to do the full plan here. So income is USD 100,000 per year. Now this gives us a target. Sally, I don't know whether this is hitting home, but this is now what we begin to talk about in the class. Now we begin to say, what kind of assets would be able to pay out $100,000 a year? What kind of assets would you invest in? So just to give you an idea, and it varies around the world. So when we're having the discussion about the yield rates, when you come into the investment classes, when you talk about real estate, the stock market, investing in government bonds and treasury bills, you will apply it to your market. So it may be different everywhere. I'm very familiar with the Kenyan market, so we'll use that as an example, but you'll apply it to your market. So in Kenya, when you talk about rental income, because we're looking for cash flow, not just ownership of land. So you want a cash flow. If it's a cash flow, it means you're renting your property. If you want cash flow, let's say from other investments, a good cash flow investment is government bonds, where they pay out your interest in cash. Rather than it compounding internally, they pay out an interest in cash. And then there's dividends from companies when you invest in a company on the stock market or as an individual. So we're trying to find which investment are we going to put this money into, and it'll be a cash, a income earning asset. Income earning asset. So let's pick one here in Kenya, and that's why we have a broad spectrum in the classes that you're going to learn. So you have options in the direction that you're going to go. So Sally, I'm giving you some advice. You will put your investment into a Kenya government bond, which will yield for you 10% per year. Okay, 10% per year. All right. Now, what does that mean? That this 10% needs to be the cash that I need in order to survive. And what have we said? The cash, the income that is required here, USD 100,000. So that's the yield. That is the interest, the income that your investment is earning. Now, watch this. If that is the investment that I'm working on, so what is the size of the investment that will yield this? That's per year. So 100%. So if you remember your high school maths, it's cross multiplication, isn't it? this not even high school. This is primary school. Actually, my 11-year-old is doing this maths now in school. So it's USD question mark. So you cross multiply 100% times, 100% divided by 10% times 100,000. Let's see if guys are awake. I want to make sure that we are together. In the chat box, what is the answer to that question? Let's help Sally get there. Joshua, how did you, John, sorry, Isutsa. I love that name. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's it. So, USD. I'm using these round numbers just to make sure that the mathematics is easy. Sally, did you understand how we got there? I just want to make sure you're there with us. Yes, Ahlam Ali, I'm coming to respond to you. I want to make sure Sally is still with me. Sally M, are you still there? If you are, you have to switch on your mic, then I can hear you and help you out. Sally M, you there? Hey.
Hi, yes, I'm sorry. I wasn't able to unmute.
Okay, that's okay.
Yes, I'm still here. Yes.
Good. So have you understood how we got there? So we're saying, you said you described the life that you want, isn't it? You said you want to travel twice a year.
Yes.
That's about $40,000 just in tickets. And then you want to live in Zanzibar. So we said the house will cost you anywhere between $1 and $2 million. Then you said you want to have assets that will help your children, isn't it, along the way? And you said daily life in Zanzibar a year will cost you about $60,000. Okay. So if you had cash flow worth $60,000 plus the travel worth $40,000, then you would need about $100,000 a year and you'd be happy. Isn't that so, Sally? Are we there yet?
That's correct. Yeah.
Good. I hope I'm trying to help Ahlam Ali as well. So now we're there. So we described it that way. So we said we need an income cash flow to Sally worth $100,000 a year. So where's that cash coming from? It's coming from income earning investments that she has made. The freedom that we're talking about here at Centonomy, the freedom is that I don't have to work. So that means there's enough cash to sustain my lifestyle. We're saying if we could get an investment that would continue to pay you that amount of money, then that's really what we're talking about here, okay? So let's go back and begin to figure this out. So we say, let's find an investment. We find an investment, I said in Kenya, let's say, Sally, if you're thinking about Kenya, I can give you an example because I'm very familiar with that. Government bonds can give you that kind of income per year of about 10%. So whatever you put in, you get a cash flow to you of about 10%. Now, if I'm getting a cash flow of 10%, how much then did I need to have invested so that the 10% is enough for me? And that, Ahmed Ali, is where we got this $1 million that everybody was talking about. Big goal, isn't it?
Enormous.
It's a big goal. No, and I've not even finished, Sally, because this is just your investment. Remember, you still have to buy the house as well, isn't it? Because you want to live
Yeah.
there. So we had about $2 million. Isn't that a good number?
It's a big number.
It's your goal. You're the one who told me that you want this. So we're trying to figure out how do we get there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good. So now we need a strategy to get from where we are today to where we want to be in a certain period of time. And that's what we're talking about today. So I want to take this a little bit further. I want to, if you don't mind, just give me a second. Our goal, Sally, how long before we get to this? How many years do you want to work on this project?
15 at the most.
15 at the most. So we have 15 years within which to invest, to work, and to get to this goal. Okay?
Yes.
So total, let me just get that down here, is USD at least 2 million, yes, in 15 years. Okay, that's a big goal. Now, it is so important for us to understand the size of a goal. If any of you has ever tried to run a marathon, you know that running that in less than 2 hours was insane. But guess what? He did it. And he had people around him. And it's possible to get close to that. So that
Is it just me who's hanging, or can you confirm if it is on my side or it's Waithaka?
I think it's him.
Should be an internet issue. He should be back. We're so sorry for that. Thank you for letting me know. I was worried. Okay, he should be back. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Waithaka, we can't hear you. Sorry.
Sorry, I got very excited and unplugged my cable. I kicked it off.
Sorry for that. Sorry for that. But good to have you.
I was trying to tell Sally about her life, and then let's get back there. Where did this go? You can see my screen now. Good. There we go. I'll go back to the whiteboard. So we went through all that. Now it is not there anymore, but don't worry, Sally, I remember the goal. It is USD 2M in 15 years. What I was talking about before I kicked this wonderful cable off my table, I will be a bit more relaxed, is that now we have a goal. Just like Eliud Kipchoge's 1:59.59, even if he didn't get there, and remember, this was not the first time he tried to break that record. He's tried a couple of times before. The fact that he was working at it meant that he came close. And what I was trying to say was, if Sally came up with an investment worth half this, $1 million, maybe she's able to travel once a year rather than not, and she's still living in Zanzibar, I think we're still on track. But having the ultimate goal in place is what will make the difference along the way. So I want us to figure out, how do we get from where we are today to where Sally wants to be, and I'm sure where many of us want to be along the way. There was also a question from Ali Ahlam. Hi, Ali. You can switch on your mic. Ali Ahlam. I just want to make sure you understood how we got to this point. Hopefully you understood me, Ali. If you did, you can even type it in the chat box, and I'll try and pick up on that as we go. Okay. So let's see how we get there. Let's see how we get there. So in the class, we have a session called Time Value of Money, okay? And that's module 2. That's my favorite module. I'm the one who trains it most of the time. God willing, I'll be the one training it this time round. So I look forward to this. So our goal is that we have to have 15 years in which to raise $2 million in assets where we can be able to invest. Love it, love it, love it. It's a big goal. So we have to go for, we have to invest heavily. We have to take a bit more risk. And this is one of the things that we talk about in the class. Let's see if I can get some help. Guys have been a bit quiet now. Let's go in the chat box and begin to understand the choices as far as investments are concerned. Let me give you a choice and tell you, if I want to put aside some money for my children's school fees, they go to school and pay for their school fees. If I want to put aside some cash for my children's school fees for January 2021, that's next year, where would you advise me, because you already know, where would you advise me to put that money? Where should I put that money? I'm putting aside some cash for next year, January. Esther, Hadassah, thank you so much. Anne, thank you. Elisifa, thank you. Okay, Anything other than a money market fund. M-Shwari is a wonderful thing. Yes, Wendo, don't laugh. M-Shwari is a good place. 90 days T-bill, okay. If I had some, yeah, no problem. Yeah, fixed deposit savings account. Look at that. In a bank account, what you're looking for is security. So you want security and access, because I don't want to lose money between now and next year, January. So I want a place where the money is secure, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it when January comes along. I'm able to pay my school fees. Great. So let's do another small test. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Those are great responses. So we have already a picture in our mind. Now look at Sally's goal on the screen. $2 million in 15 years. If that's a massive goal, so it requires investment. Now, what you have given me is savings option. Savings, you want security. You're not looking for growth. You're not looking for multiplier effect. You're just looking for security and access. Now look at Sally's goal. And I know it's many of us share her goal. You want to be Sally's neighbor. I loved when she described it. Even me, I'd like to come and visit you. So even if you don't want visitors, Sally, I'm coming. She needs to be investing and investing rapidly so that her money is multiplying. Remember what we talk about, your money working for you. Where should Sally be looking at investing between now and that 15-year goal from now? So 2015 is where? Irene, excellent. Anne, excellent. Excellent. So far, I've seen only one investment option. Grace has said Sacco. I'll show you, Grace, that most likely that's not the place to put the money. Sacco is, remember, it's even in the name. For those who don't know what a Sacco is, because we have a global audience in Kenya, we have savings and credit cooperative societies, essentially, which are like banks. So it's for saving. So saving. So I've seen one option so far, two now have come. I've seen bonds. Teresia, I would disagree with you, and that's why we go through the program, because bonds, remember bonds, and this is we have a whole 3-hour session on how bonds work, and bonds are used around the world. They are wonderful investments. I hope everybody's paying attention. In every country, governments borrow from their citizens in order to, and from others in order to be able to do what they need to do. And so government bonds, they're usually available in most markets, and they're useful, but you have to understand how they work. So government bonds right now is not the place for Sally to be investing there. Why? Because it's not compounding. So she's not earning interest on the interest that she has invested, okay? And we want that compounding effect over time for her to get there. So the one that I've seen so far, everybody here, majority of people have said shares, farming, real estate, and a certain type of real estate. It is about investing in business. Why? Because in business is where you have the highest potential return. Listen to the words I'm using. The highest potential return. So, but in the same place in business, you have high risk. And where there's higher risk, there's higher potential return. I hope you're going to get this. But in the class, what we're trying to get you to do, please write this down, is to take calculated risk. How do you take a calculated risk? You understand the parameters. You're best placed to get to that place. If you enter into any investment that you don't understand, that is just pure risk. It's like gambling. But if you understand the market, you understand the investment, you have some history, then you're taking a calculated risk, because there is no investment, and please understand, there is no investment without any risk. All have risk. Now it's the type of risk that you're willing to take. So if I put my money for next year's school fees in a bank, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it, but there's still risk. That bank could collapse, and it has happened in various countries where the bank collapses. So the fact that I put my money in the bank does not mean I've done away the risk. What I've done is reduced the amount of risk based on my knowledge. So even when we're investing in those higher risk investments, which Sally must do, and all of us must begin to do, is understand the how it works, so that we are best placed to take a calculated risk to achieve our ultimate goal. So now that we know that, you guys have said it, it's on the higher end of the risk spectrum. We want to go there. Why? Because in order for Sally to achieve this goal, she needs to do it quickly over this period of time. So what now must Sally do? So we run a class, as I said. Sally, I know you're intolerant to risk, but listen to this, and everyone write this down. Here's the rule. Here's the rule as far as investments are concerned. In fact, Sally, if you could switch on your mic, I would appreciate this, because this one, I need to hear your response. Where are you? Switch on the mic. Let's go.
I'm here.
Very good. Never invest in line with your personality. If you do that, you will fail. It's like going into a boxing match, saying, I'm a peace-loving person, but you are in a boxing match. If you're a peace-loving person in a box, you will get destroyed. You have to fight if you are in a boxing match. The rules are fight. Never invest in line with your personality. Invest in line with your goal. So goal-based investments, that's what we're looking for. Goal-based investments. That's what we're looking for. So I want you now to begin to think. You told me, and you saw it in the chat box. Thank you to everybody who answered. You told me, please, Waithaka, don't go and try and start a business with money for school fees for January 2021. It's too close. The risk is too high. You might lose that money. But if you want to invest to achieve your goal, Waithaka, please, your goal in 15 years' time, like Sally's, then please go and invest in a business. That's what you have told me. And that's what we discuss in the class. We talk about you must match your investment and a goal. Eddie, I'm expounding on it. I'm expounding. If I'm risk averse, like Sally has said, I don't like risk. So I try and save to get to that point. I try and save money. Diligently, I put aside money. How will I get to that point? It will take Sally many more years, because saving doesn't have a high return, but investing does. So if Sally wants to get to her goal, if she tries to save, the likelihood is she's not going to get there. But if she invests, which means she's saying, I know I am risk averse, but in order for me to achieve my goal, I must take a certain level of risk to get the return I want. That risk is calculated because I understand, and I'm doing my very best to minimize it, but that is where the return is found, then I have to go there. So I'm trying to get you guys to understand. We will be getting you to save, which means to put aside money, definitely, but we also have to increase our risk appetite so that we can achieve the goal that we want to get to. This is what we must do. That's what I love that, Keegan Minor. I love it. You're being encouraged, Sally. Keegan is saying I'm risk averse too, Sally, but that's why we're here. That's why I'm here. When I talk like this, it also encourages me to do the same thing along the way. So we must take on a little bit more risk in order to achieve the goal that Sally wants. So every investment that you have. Now watch this, Sally. When we get closer to your goal, your risk appetite begins to reduce, because now you don't want to risk what you have already made, and you just simply want to use it to live out your life in comfort. So you put that money now into other investments which have less of a risk profile than what we've talked about. So everything is a process. Everything is a process. And just like Eliud Kipchoge, we're trying to pace ourselves to achieve that goal. I hope everyone is with me. So let's see, what does Sally need to do? So in week 2, which is 2 weeks away from now, we'll be doing time value of money. And as I said, God willing, I'll be the one taking you through that process. I want to give you a sneak preview of what to expect in that session. So we're going to see what does Sally need to do now in order to achieve that goal. Here we go. I need to move some of these things off my screen, then we get there. So here we go. Sally has a goal. She needs to raise USD, and obviously you can adjust this for your whichever market you're in. $2 million, 15 years. I love that. So we use principles called time value of money to see what kind of investments does Sally need to make between now and then. It's going to be massive, but it is achievable. Okay? She needs to take risks. So let me give you an example. So we talk about the stock exchange, and depending on which country you're in, you can see, just to give you an example, I think if you're in the US, Sally, I know you're in the US, Zoom, the company we're using right now, I think Zoom within 1 year, since the beginning of this year, and because of COVID, I think it has gone up its share price like over 100% in 1 year. So sometimes you might find that some investments that grow at that rate, other companies achieve that, other companies take a bit longer, but it's about finding that consistency in growth. Where do you find it? So there are businesses around the world that are growing quickly. In Kenya, let me give you an example. Safaricom is the biggest company we have on the stock market, and we just use it as an example. When it went to IPO, it was at 5 shillings. 5 shillings, it's about 5 cents US dollars. And now it's hovering near the 30 shilling mark over about 10-year period of time. So within a 10-year period of time, that has meant if you bought at IPO and continue to grow over that period of time, you've seen a return of nearly 50% per year for the last 10 years. So that's a high rate of return. There have also been other companies on the stock market that have lost money in that period of time. So when you're investing, for instance, in the stock market, as an example, because it's a picture of businesses in your country, you want to try and spread your risk, and we talk about that in the class, but hopefully to also build so that you're growing. So Sally, I'm going to push you, and I'm going to say, and I know it's hard, but it is possible, that you want to, over the next 15 years, because this is a big goal, you want to average a return of about 25% per year. Yes, per year. So we use this principle of time value, and I'm just going to do that calculation myself here. In the class, we spend, I told you, 2.5 hours just learning these principles, and it's not a maths class, it's a principle class. I will give you the answers so that you can be able to go and work them out yourself. So Sally, if you can give me just 1 second, I'm going to give you this answer real quick. So you're going to invest for the next 15 years, and you want to average a return of 25%. So this is it. Wow, 15 years, where is that? Oh, there it is. Great. Sally, I'm just getting it for you real quick. This is by 365. Sally, get on the mic now, because I have an answer for you. Are you on the mic, Sally? Where is this? Sally, are you there? Sally M, switch on the mic so that I can.
Hi, I'm here. I was unable to unmute, sorry.
No. I think it might be the settings. So we'll change that, because when we have a bit of an open session, controlling the microphones is a bit harder. So my fault. Oh. Thank you, Sally.
No worries. Do you mind if I say something before you continue?
I need to give you the answer first.
Okay, give me the answer first.
Can you see it on the screen?
$50 per day, yes.
Do you think you could do that?
I think I could do that, yes.
Then let's get started. That's it.
Okay.
But if you do this consistently for the next 15 years, that's what you must do.
Understood.
But $50 a day invested in an instrument that will give you not less than 25% return per year for the next 15 years.
Goodness gracious. Okay.
That's it. And even if you don't have this $50 a day, because many people say, I don't have it. Even if you don't have, can you find 5? And you start with 5, and next year you increase it to 10. And the year after that, you increase it to 20. And the year after that, you increase it so that over a 15-year period, you still average the same amount. You see, this assumes that you will never increase this amount, Sally. But this is the cost of your goal. I've just worked it out. Now, you may ask your question.
Actually, it wasn't a question. It was more of, it's a statement. I just wanted to say, I really appreciate that even though these numbers are big and the cost of my dream is really big, I appreciate that you did not say maybe you need to adjust your dream. Never. Because as crazy as it sounds, this is what I really want, you know? So I appreciate that.
Sally, this is not crazy. Here's the thing. In this world, the same world that we live in, there's a gentleman whose net worth is over 150 billion US dollars. We are just talking about $2 million here in Kenya. That's 200 million shillings. Why is your dream less than Jeff Bezos's worth? Why? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, thank you.
So look, this is tiny. You know, I was waiting for you to tell me that you want to travel by private jet. Why not?
That's environmentally irresponsible.
Who said? Who said? Who said?
No, but really, I understand.
If you're traveling twice a year, you're using less jet fuel than all those planes that have to fly in order for you to be. I'm telling, why not?
I see what you mean. Yeah.
And in our class, you will never hear one of us saying that is not possible. If there's another human being on earth who has done it, why not? Now, here's the thing, Sally. What it requires is for you to understand the investment that you're going to be putting that $50 every day for the next 15 years. That means you'll be investing close to $18,000 a year, investing for growth. That's the choice. Because you have set the target, I've told you now what pace you need to keep. Isn't that exciting? Yes. Now watch this. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead and say what you're saying.
I was going to say I'm exhausted, but yes, it's exciting.
It's exhausting because I'm trying to pack in so much into this session. Look, we have over, I don't know, we have the next couple of months, 3 months to get through this material. By the end of it, it'll have settled, you'll have understood, and you have a 5-year financial plan to work through. Winnie. Where is Winnie? I need to talk to Winnie. Thank you so much, Sally. Winnie. Koda, I hope I'm saying it correctly. Switch on your mic. Yeah. Hi, Winnie.
Hi.
How do I pronounce your second name? In next week's class, Winnie, you'll need a better network connection. Type it in the chat box.
Be Kodawa. Or I hope it's spelled correct.
You have, yes, Kodawa. Thank you. I didn't know whether I was going to say Kodawa. Now I've got you. Winnie, what are you saying in your explanation? I saw you say something there in the chat box. And then there's somebody else here. Samuel, yes, let's talk to Samuel for a second. Kahenu. Hi, Samuel. Let's have a chat. Switch on your mic, Samuel.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi, my brother. Finally, a gentleman is speaking to me.
Yes.
It's not just about long-term investment.
Yes.
But you're right. Some of these take a bit of time, and because her goal was long, but it's about understanding what is the cost of your goal. Okay?
Cost.
There are others, Samuel, isn't it, that you know,
Yeah.
who, if you start the right business,
Yes.
within 5 years, you can achieve this goal, isn't it?
Indeed.
Yeah. So if I'm saving from my salary, then it will take me 15 years, isn't it? But if I'm an entrepreneur and I'm working out this in the right direction, it may take me 5 years. It may also take me 15 years. But the thing is, which investment will give me the outcome that I want?
I totally agree. And now, when I still have the mic, what is your take on money market fund?
Yeah, it's a wonderful tool for savings.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where you should be saving. It's not for growth.
Not for growth.
No, that's for saving.
It's for saving.
Yes.
So essentially, with so compared with equities, so within the two, with respect to what you mentioned earlier about risk averse and so equities would be preferable if you have
if you're looking for growth. I told you, I used one company, Safaricom. If we were to average out its growth from IPO till today, you are saying about 50% growth per year. Listen, 50%. Your money market fund will give you maybe 8% or so per year. Which one is growth, Samuel?
Yeah, I agree. Safaricom is growth. Yeah, you are right.
And I'm just using that as an example. It's not the only company. There are many. And it's understanding those points.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much, Samuel. And I'm appreciating that. I want to talk to Ludia Macharia. Thanks, Samuel. Ludia, what is the problem? What has happened now? You can switch on your mic.
Mathematics was not my good point.
Don't worry. I will spend 2.5 hours in 2 weeks from now explaining exactly what I've explained to you.
Oh, okay. Because I am still not getting how we got to the 50, because it makes it easier. Like when we work it down to the daily.
Yes.
Then you can see how you can see how to get to that. You can see how to get to that point, because if you look at it from from the 2 million point, it's a big number.
It is. So it's exactly the same thing I was talking about with Eliud Kipchoge. 2 hours seems like just impossible. But when they worked it, remember they even had a line that was being a laser on the floor, which was giving him his pace. So that because he knew I can keep that pace. If I only knew it, if I could only measure it, if I could only have the pace, what are they called? Pace runners. I forget what they're called.
The pace setters.
Those ones. If I had them, it could get me there. And that's what this program does for you. It begins to explain, what is my goal? Then you say, this is my goal. What do I need to do now in order to get there? So I had to get Sally to describe what is her goal. And she was very honest. And thank you so much, Sally, for being so honest with us. When she described it, we could put a number to it. Then she told me when she wanted it. So now I was able to use the time value of money principles to work backwards and say, what kind of investments does Sally need to make in order to get there? Ludia, can I give you one more thing?
Okay.
Before you go. What would happen if instead of investing $50 a day, Sally decided to invest 100? What would happen?
Her money would almost double.
Or
she would get to her goal faster.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's what we're trying to do. So I'm really trying to make sure that people we all understand the cost of our choices. Now, Lydia, thank you so much. Let me get to my presentation. I want to finish up now, then we can take a couple of questions, okay?